I'm here with Dolly Dinero. Thank you so much, Dolly, for being here. I'm super excited to have this juicy, fun conversation with you. I met Dolly on Clubhouse and I just fell in love with her. I fell in love with your voice and your energy and just everything that it's Dolly. So
Well,
Dolly,
thank you for inviting me.
tell us a little bit about you.
Well, thank you first and foremost for inviting me and for allowing your spirit to be touched by me and my energy. I changed my name to Dolly Dinero here only for the internet streets, but my given name is Nancy. I'm a single mom. I got 4 children, 3 beautiful grandchildren, and I make skincare products for a living now.
I love it. I love it. So on Clubhouse, we were having more of a conversation about sex education. And we were just talking about how important sex education should be in our own homes with our children.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's very important that once a child can even grasp all their like occupational things, and reach their milestones and can even have a conversation with you and they're able to tell you their body parts, then
Mhm.
yeah, I think it's important that you should start educating them because I come from a time where my mother didn't even know what her menstrual cycle was and she thought that she defecated on herself. And I don't think that any little girl out there should walk around thinking that she pooped herself, soiled herself,
Mm,
because of the
yes,
lack of education. So it's
absolutely.
important.
Absolutely. I was just telling one of the engineers right now that how important education is, not just at the level of the home, but also in the educational system, in schools. Because, like, for example, for me, there's children that might not be able to learn that at home, but that they can have at least the basic at school. And for me, for example, it's like, otherwise they're going to go and they're going to ask their friends. I remember going and asking one of my friends, and they said that you get pregnant if you kiss a boy. And at that time, I was either 6 or 7 years old, and I like this. I had a crush on this little boy, and I thought, oh my god, it's like I have a crush on this boy. I cannot kiss him because I'm gonna get pregnant, and I'm too little to have a baby. But in my 6, 7 year old mind, that was a huge concern. And if I had had at least the basic sex education, I would
Right.
not have had that fear. Be like, yeah, that's fine. You can have a crush, you can kiss a boy when you're 6, 7, but as long you're not gonna have, because you're not you haven't have become full fertile.
Right. Right.
So, but I have no idea about that. Even when I was 15, I didn't get my period till I was 15.
Right. Right. We consider those late bloomers in the older days, like, in the Spanish culture, especially, like, todavía no
Oh
le canta
yes.
el gallo, you know what I'm saying? So
Yes,
people like,
I mean,
no.
all my friends were having their periods when in fourth grade, fourth, fifth grade, and I was already 15, and I was like, maybe I just missed it. Yay! And I was happy. I was like, yeah, maybe I'm just not gonna get my period.
I know that because of the things that are being put in food now, a lot of the girls are going a lot younger than what I was accustomed to.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, my little girl, yeah, like, we had to prepare her. So, I'm just glad that she found somebody in school that she was comfortable with and going to when she needed the emergency.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that a lot of girls don't have in the school. They're afraid to tell somebody. Like you said, they're not. Nobody's talking about this. And the how you said you tell you could get pregnant. So when
Mm-hmm.
it came to me raising my children, I had this conversation earlier. In fact, somebody asked me if I had daughters, and I said, yeah, I have 2 daughters and 2 sons. And the conversation came up about sex, and I said, well, I'm one of the type of parents that I'm not going to hide the sky with my hands because I would only be blinding myself. I have to prepare my children for what's out there because the streets are by far crueler. So I have to be totally honest with my children. Look, if this is what you're gonna do, if you're gonna open your legs, this is what's gonna happen, not from kissing a boy.
Mhm.
And you have to be honest with them. You the same things you learn in school, you can't be like, oh well, little Susie, no, little Susie has to learn the importance of how she can get pregnant because you see, a lot of times people will think that a man has to insert a woman to impregnate her, and that's not true.
Right.
He could just rub himself on her and impregnate her without insertion. So these are the type of things that really need to be spoken about. They're not taboo. This is real life stuff.
It's real. Yeah. Absolutely.
So I'm honest with my children. I have to be honest. Like I'm going through the teenage boy now. He just got his first girlfriend. So educating him on everything. I'm
Yes.
talking about how some children his age were even born with STDs, HIVs, and because of technology and medication, it's not transmissible, but nonetheless, they're still born with this. So
Mhm.
it's important to educate them. So yes, I've been like real with my children, and my oldest is gonna be 31, my youngest is 10.
Wow. Oh my gosh. How old were you kids when you first started talking about having this like sex conversation with them?
Um, it started getting even more intense once like my daughter got her menstrual cycle because again, like the guys will try to manipulate you with it. If you love me, you'll do it. So the conversations get deep and I never sugarcoated anything. I was
Yeah.
always blunt, honest, and frank with her. And even when she did become a young mother, in spite of the education, I mean, you can't stop them, you can't hold them forever. It's not like I put her in the street. I was there to support her. Like, I'm gonna still support you. You're gonna finish school. You're gonna do what you're gonna do. But it's not like back in the days where our moms were telling us, "Oh, if you open your legs, I'm gonna kick you out." And
Mm.
how could you kick your child out when we didn't even prepare them for what's out there, like rent, bills, utilities, and sometimes not even the children are being educated about this in school to prepare them what's after school. Because our parents didn't prepare us, nor did our education system prepare us either for what
Absolutely.
happens after school, taxes, the economy, things of that nature, politics. So it starts at home and in the education system while they're young, and we have to prepare them.
Yes. Yes. Yes, absolutely. We were just having a conversation about this on Clubhouse on Saturday night. And, we have this debate of whether sex education should be taught in school or not. And I was like, it should. There's not even a question. It should absolutely be part of it because for some children, school it's a safe heaven.
Yeah, yeah, because I
So
worked in the school system, so I totally agree. I
yeah,
mean, sometimes that's the only meal some children get is at school. So I totally
exactly,
agree that that's
exactly.
the only place some of these children even get affection, an ear, somebody that understands them. So it could go both ways, but school is, I don't have a problem with it because I learned a lot through school biology. I mean, they have to teach you
Mhm.
sex and anatomy in biology, so
Right.
you have to teach them from young because again, there's a lot of things that go behind closed doors that break these children, and because they're not educated enough, they can't tell you
Yes.
about some of the traumas they've experienced, and then they grow up to be broken adults because again, there's no education.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I am like like all for education, sex education for children because if they learn what abuse means, what sexual abuse means, they can be like, "Oh, well wait a minute. This is what's happening to me at home." And then they can go and feel, safe and vulnerable enough and open enough to open up to their teachers or a school, a school teacher or someone that they trust in school that they can help them, deal with this.
And
Yeah.
what's also important too, like even finding workshops to educate the mother on how to even look for signs if a child has been going through any type of trauma. Because even when a
Mhm.
children is being bullied at school, their behavior changes. And
Oh,
sometimes mothers are not really paying attention to the behavior changes in their children either.
that's so
So
true.
it's a lot. It's a lot.
That's so true. Absolutely. What are some of the things that you would recommend for a young parent, young mother, or especially a young single mother, um, what are some of the things that you would recommend to talk about with their children, or even just some of the things that you have done in, as a single mother too? What are some of the things that you would recommend
As far as staying in school, that's
as far as
key. You
staying
know
in
what I'm saying?
school,
Yeah,
such
staying in
yeah.
school is key. Like, read. Like I tell my granddaughter, I have a granddaughter. She's about to be a teen. Read everything. Read everything, even for the moms, the dads, because dads are single parents too sometimes. Read everything, because then that way when you get older, it won't be as easy to be deceived.
Mm.
Um, yeah, you got to read everything, even the ingredients and the things that you consume. What else? As a single mom, don't give up on yourself. Like, keep dreaming and keep going, because sometimes, people become young parents and they think that that's it, life is over. I got to quit school. I can't travel. I can't do this. No, you still can, especially if you have a support system. If you don't, just don't give up on yourself. Ask questions. That's important, and write everything down.
Oh,
And
that's
yeah,
a great
just
one.
write everything down, because you have to go back. Take pictures of everything too. You got to take pictures of everything. You need memories. You
Mm.
know what I'm saying? Um, and don't beat yourself up. You have to be patient in life as a single parent, because this doesn't, or even when you're in a two-parent home, this doesn't come with instructions. There's no book that teaches you how to be a parent, because some parents will actually what's that word? Instead of giving a child their presents, they give them presents. You
Mm.
know what I'm getting at?
Mhm.
So, like, be present with them. Give them
Yes.
affection too. Don't forget, affection is key.
Yes.
And don't try to be the mother that you didn't have, or the parent that you didn't have with your child, because you will never be the parent that your parent was. You know what I'm
Oh.
saying?
Oh, yes. That gave me chills right now. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, you
It's so
can't be
true.
your
It's
mom.
so
You
true.
can't raise your
Yep.
children the way your mom raised you.
No.
That's not being fair to them. Like, you're not your
Right.
mom. So whatever
Exactly.
your mom puts you through, don't do that to your children. You know what I'm saying? And like I
Mhm.
said, you have to be honest with them. Because if you're honest with your children, you grow up and you have a real good relationship with them. They grow up, they respect you, they honor you. You know what I'm saying? And you could count on them. Like I said, my oldest is gonna be 31. So I grew up with her. I became a mom right after I turned 18 years old, and the whole wide world was against me. Like, oh, what kind of mom is she gonna be? They were like, oh, your daughter's gonna be dirty all the time. I'm like, yeah, okay. And I was a young mom with the drug addict mom, and the odds were stacked up against me. But I didn't give up on myself. I went back to school. I got a GED. I did college. I got certified to be an herbalist. Even when I was dancing, and like, I danced for a living, I was inside of dance, and a lot of people thought I was crazy. And my whole thing was that I didn't want to miss a waking moment with my children. So work had to wait till my kids were old enough to fend for themselves. Excuse me. And
Oh.
so it's like I work nights. I even work nights dispatching at cab companies, because when my children did perform in school, I wanted to be in the audience. I wanted to be their cheerleader. When they did things like win the spelling bee, I was there. So I didn't want to miss a waking moment with my children. So I chose to dance or work dispatching at night, babysitting, anything, just so that I could still be present in their life. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yes, 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 absolutely. I love that. I love that. Oh, to be there, to be in the moment with them, yes, to be present with them. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little
And let
bit
me tell you,
about,
it paid
yeah.
off, because what?
No,
Yes,
go ahead.
sure. I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, sweetie. No, no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that it paid off, because, like, my older son, he's gonna be 28, and when I got to see him with one of his girlfriends taking care of her on her menstrual cycle, I was like,
Oh,
yes, I raised him well. Like, there you go, get her
oh,
chocolate and stuff. Yeah.
oh my gosh. That's one thing that I wanted to ask you too. Like, how different was it to raise a girl and a boy? Because that's what I
Uh-huh.
have. I have a boy and a girl, and both teenagers, and yes, they're interesting. Both
Not
are
much.
great friends. I would say I have a more of an open relationship with my daughter now because she's a little older, so we can talk more deeper conversations, more about, sex, more about just anything, life, boys, things that she's doing, just life in general. It's more open. With my son, he's 13, so he's going through that stage of, he just wants to be in his room playing video games, doing his homework, and then hanging out with his friends. So we still spend time together, but not as much as when he was little. So
Right.
how did you deal with that, since you have like, older, like a 28-year-old son?
It wasn't much of a difference because I'm an only girl out of 7 brothers. So I didn't raise them like, oh, you're a girl and you're supposed to play with dolls and things like that. I just raised them like regular kids. Like I was pretty tough on her too because I'm like, girl, you go out. We live in New York.
Mm.
So I had to prepare her for the streets, girl. There's gonna be girls that don't like you. You gotta be able to, go ahead and like puño y patada, right? That's like in Spanish, like you gotta learn how to, because like I said, the streets is hard on women. Women have to fight for their education, for their rights, for their jobs, for their careers, for rights. So I had to prepare her for the fight that was stacked up against the women. With my son, I didn't want him to be one of those broken type of men that wasn't like able to tap into his emotions. So he's like, if you gotta cry, cry. It doesn't
Oh,
make you less
yeah.
than a man. You gotta
Right.
cry. I want you to be able to express yourselves and not bottle nothing up. And I also told him like, don't be starstruck. Like you see a
Mm.
celebrity, you don't gotta go kill yourself just trying to get
Yeah.
a celebrity to acknowledge you. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah,
Yeah.
little things like that, little gems to put in their
Yeah.
crowns for
Yeah. They're
when they
just
get.
people.
But again, like it was just really like affection, a lot of
Mm.
affection with the boys because I've dated men that you could tell they didn't get affection as children.
Right. How important affection is. Yes, I totally agree with you. I mean, yes, same way. I had met some men that I have not been very affectionate, and then they miss that and
Mhm.
during their childhood. And so when you come in with that full affection towards them, it's almost like they just don't know what to do with it.
It's
They
like
they
alien.
Yes, they either like really, really like it, or they're just like freak out a little bit and they're like, oh my God, what is going on right now? Because I never been touched like this before. So yeah.
Raising children of both genders is not as hard as people would think. Like I said, presence is important, being there, like understanding them and without judging them and allow them to know no matter what decisions they make, you can't reject them. And one of the rules I do have with my children is always tell me the truth the first time I ask you. I shouldn't
Mm,
have to ask you 5, 6 times because then how am I going to know to defend you? By the sixth
right.
time that I asked you, I had already exhausted all the ways I could have helped you fix the problem from the first time I asked you. So we have this rule: if you tell me the truth from the first time, you won't be in no trouble. I'm gonna help you out of it. So
Yes, yes, yes. I totally agree with that. Same thing. That's what I do with my kids too. And I guess it helps that I'm also a therapist. So, but even that, like with my daughter, it was like, yeah, mom, like I don't want you to be my therapist. I want to be my
yeah.
own therapist, and I totally respect that. And I did get her own therapist. But yeah, I have hypnotized my kids here and there, and my son actually really likes it. My daughter's more like on the maybe,
Yeah.
but my son really likes it. My daughter not so much. She rather has a therapist where she can just go in and talk about her
and
stuff
and it's
that's going
funny
on.
because I have 2 boys at home that have IEPs,
Mm,
and this year when they went back after remote learning, the school kept asking, what did you do over remote learning that you didn't do before? And I said, well, this time I went at a holistic approach and more of a metaphysical angle with shadow
mm,
work and a lot of self-love, teaching them how to be patient with themselves, how to love up on themselves. My grandson, he's explosive, like boom. So I'm
yes.
teaching him how to time from the moment it triggers him to the time that he has to react, breathe. So his teacher's like, whatever you're doing, like you keep doing it. So they'll call me when he's having a meltdown, and I'm able to talk to him. I don't yell at him because I know there's a yelling and act for bringing more
It
negative
aggravates
energy to
it.
that. Right.
Hmm.
So there's no resolve through there. So I'm able to bring him down and calm him down. And then what I do is I reinforce him with repeating, what did I just tell you? And then I'll have him repeat it a few times, and then you got it. So I'm able to channel his energy now different, but it's all with the holistic. Like now I use crystals in the house, sound bowls. I have steel tongue drums, and he enjoys that. The other one, the teenager now, he's still a little bit more where I'm constantly talking to him about being patient with himself because he's on the spectrum, but
Mm.
he's high functioning. So his emotional balance is out of whack. But I'm teaching him, he's just his first girlfriend, his first experience. I'm teaching him how to balance himself by being patient with himself. And, it's a lot of coaxing and talking, but he's come a long way as well. Like before, you couldn't even touch him, get close to him, but now he's even allowing himself to get a girlfriend because he has
Wow.
the sensory issues. Yeah, it's a lot of talking to them nice and calm,
Yes.
and it's been working immensely.
Yeah, and that really proves that holistic approaches are really becoming more of the approach, really,
Right,
what it
right.
should be. Not just medicate your child, pop some pills on your child and there you go.
Like lavender to calm them down, essential oils. There's different things you could put in the tub for them because as they're soaking in the tub, instead of giving them bubble bath is not really going to have any beneficial effect. But if you give them a bubble bath and like milk and honey and you put lavender in there and make
Mm,
it bubbly and fun for them, it will have more benefits in calming them and helping them with their behavior. Like if somebody's having an outburst, something as simple as an essential oil could bring their mood at
yeah,
ease. So this is why
absolutely.
like teachers should be allowed to have certain diffusers, like ask the parents if their child suffers from any allergies, especially where the children do get services. If they have any allergies, find out and see if you could put diffusers or see if you could put, certain type of frequency music in your classroom so
Mm,
that it could keep
yes.
the children at a nice vibration where they could focus better.
Mm, absolutely. Yes. I love that. I used to teach before, and I just I was like, you know what? If they would put more of the mindfulness in the classrooms, if mindfulness was a class,
Oh,
ah, right? And so last year when it was COVID happened, and of course most of the kids, were not in school, I became like a personal teacher for this family, and we would practice mindfulness until this day. If I get together with them, they're like, Elia, are we going to meditate now? I mean, how
um,
cool is that they look forward to meditation and that they are able to calm themselves with meditation, with music, just a little bit of music, even if it's just like 5 minutes. 5 minutes
right.
makes a huge difference in a child, calms them down, grounds them, and then they're able to focus better in their school, their work, or whatever, or even if just having and fighting within each other, it really shifts the vibration completely.
Absolutely, especially
That's
when
what
you're
I
playing
noticed.
music that's being like that you would typically hear at a museum,
Hmm.
like at a space museum. That type of music really like it calms the kids, but it also helps them open their minds,
Yes.
especially when creative play is at hand. So yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Dolly, oh my God, thank you so much for this time. Thank you. Thank you. We're kind of running out of time, but
thank you.
I wanted to thank you so much for taking the time. I mean, it looks like it's a little cold over there.
No, actually, no. I bundled up just in case because I am in
Okay,
a
good,
park.
good.
So I made sure I came down prepared, New York City weather, but I'm actually pretty comfortable here, and I'm glad that it was quiet today and it wasn't
Good.
chaotic. Like oh my God, I'm live.
Thank you so much, Dolly. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time. And thank you guys for
Thank
listening
you.
to Mindful Conversations. Thank you so much, Dolly. Have a beautiful.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Blessings to all. Namaste.
Namaste.
Glutathione is a big word. It's the body's own master antioxidant. It's a scavenger for free radical, bacteria, and viruses. There are no products in the market with the ingredient NASET. NASET increases the production of glutathione that's in our body already to strengthen and enhance our immune system, elevate sense of well-being, support muscle strength and endurance, cognitive function, and liver support. It helps with increased energy and blood sugar regulation. Get your bottle of GSH Plus from www.salvationnutra.com.